You need a good laugh, spirit lifted, support or encouragement. You are in the right place for steady direct.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Come on in the room, the virtual sanctuary, the meeting space. Yes, I have this fine drink of water right behind me, my boo, my love, my heart, my husband. Yes, ain't he fine? Watch yourself. This is Chris Hill, or Chill is a good thing for him, yes. We are coming. We have some wonderful guests on tonight. The pastor, the one that drops those nuggets, the one that just hits us across the head with all that wisdom and revelation is here. He is in the sanctuary. Hey, Pastor.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Glad to be on with you.
Well, we are glad to have you. Tonight must be my lucky night. I'm just surrounded by wisdom, knowledge, revelation. I mean, it's just in abundance in the sanctuary. We have also the Rev. Andrew Lam. How are you?
I'm good. I ain't got no complaints.
Listen, I'm hoping that the ladies don't hit me across the head this week. You know, the last time you was on, I was getting harassed in my inbox. Listen, ladies, inbox Reverend Andrew Lamb, not me. Not me, okay? But no, I'm so grateful for you guys being here. I always love to get a male perspective because we as women, we talk about dating and love and relationships so much that we sometimes think our point of view is the only point of view, you know, and there is another side. So I'm just grateful for you guys being here. Listen, like and share this video. We came on a little late. We got some things going on, but you know, nevertheless, we must push forward and do what God has called us to do. And dating while Christian is so important. So I need you guys to like and share the video, subscribe, jump on in. I know there's a lot going on. The world is open, but our conversations are still very, very important. All right, but we're not going to wait. You know, people come on as they come on. I'm going to be chit-chatting with them. First, let's just tell me a little bit about you, where you are relationally, like married. I already know, but tell the people, married, single, what's going on with you?
Don't be afraid. Go first.
No, you go first. You're the young fella. You go first.
All right, cool. Well, my name is Elder Smith, and Elder Ed Smith, and yes, I'm married. You can call me Brother Ed. I like Brother Ed. I'm married to Sister Deborah Smith, my apple pie. That's what I call her, my apple pie, but I also call her Tinkerbell because she's feisty. When she comes in here, you'll see her buzz in here in a minute. But yes, I hail from Vision Life Skills and Worship Center. where Pastor Teresa Andrew Demby is the pastor there. And so outside of that, I'm just a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. Most of all, I'm a man of God. Let me say that first. I'm a man of God. I'm a husband. I'm a father. We have 7 children, 1 grandbaby. And yep, she just went out. Come on back.
Wait, say that one more time.
Yep, we have
Did you
7
say
children. We have 7 children, 1 grandbaby, and we are what they call a hyper blended family. So there are a lot of dynamics there. So we've learned a lot of lessons over the year. There is nothing but peace around here, you know. But I let you know it won't always that way. Amen. But God made it so. God made it so. So
hyper blended
did family. And
I know I
what else?
said that right.
Last thing, I'm a business owner. I'm a touch of glory massage therapy. So yes, I am a preacher, and yes, I'm a massage therapist. And no, I'm not a masseuse. And I will teach you the difference.
I know that's right.
I will teach you the difference.
Ask this question while we stay right there for 1 second. So do you teach couples how to? Oh,
yes, I do. So and that's because as a massage therapist, I'm clinically trained. You know, I have to go through a medical board. I have to go through the same thing nurses and doctors and everybody else go through. And people will walk in and say, you're a masseuse or you're a masseur because you're a male. And you will look at them and be like, I'm not a masseuse. A masseuse is not licensed. They are not trained and they do sexual favors and I do not. So the only person is qualified to be your masseuse is your mate. Only person qualified to be your masseuse is your husband. Let's clarify that. Let's clear it up. Because sometimes we will go in looking for strange things in strange places, and we know we ain't supposed to be. Amen. So I teach couples about fanning the flame because honestly, sometimes we're too holy to be any good to each other. You know, I was a freak in the world, but now that I got saved, I can't be a freak for my husband. There's an issue. So we can talk about that, and that's reality.
Listen, we need to have a whole nother you know what? That's a whole nother topic. Because listen, Danny Direct was birthed because this is not our grandmother's Bible study. We want to talk about things that the church does not talk about. You telling me to abstain, you tell me to date, you know, be holy, be all these things, but you don't teach me how to date. You don't teach me how to abstain. You don't, you know, tell me that when those feelings are coming and I'm, you know, the chemistry is there and I want this person, what do I do? You know, so this is why we started having these conversations, because there's somebody out there that wants to be a Christian, but they think they got to do everything perfect. And because they have feelings that aren't perfect, they feel they're less than, but that's not true. We've been dishonest. We haven't been transparent. We haven't been open and letting people know that I struggle the same way you struggle. But because of my relationship with God, you know, I fight those struggles. I fight those temptations. I resist the devil. And sometimes I don't get it right. But that's why he died for me. That's why. So that those times where I can't get it right, where this flesh has overpowered me, or I didn't get it right, I didn't get it right, that his grace and mercy is sufficient. So I love that. Yes, if you a freak, be a freak if you're married.
Right. If you're married. Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. I
right.
No idea. Okay, Reverend Lamb.
Well, you know, the word of God tells us that a husband and a wife, their bed is undefiled. So therefore, be who you are to your husband. Be who you are to your wife.
Right.
But be that to that individual or those individuals, husbands and wives. Be who you are. Don't try to, you know, sugarcoat nothing. Don't try to be somebody else. Be who you are. Enjoy your mate to the fullest. As they say, when everyone want to say, I'm living my best life, live your best life with your mate, your husband, your wife. Live your best life with that person. Make time and take time for them. You know.
And if your appetite is off, you know your appetite is off because you find your eyes having emotional affairs with people. You know, and it's just not, you know, men, we're 90% visual. So sometimes what we see will catch us off. But also, if you're not speaking to my intellect, you're not speaking to my spirit, you're not speaking, why am I having this issue? And that's something we have to learn to take up with God. See, we're Christian in date now. If I was talking to somebody else, and they weren't Christian to date, and then I can't tell them, look, you need to learn how to pull over and have a one-on-one with God. As if what's wrong with me, that everything is catching my eye but my wife. And if something is wrong, I got to be honest enough to be able to tell her. And then, ladies, you got to be woman enough to receive and wife enough to hear what I'm saying without getting insecure or feeling bad about yourself.
You know, I got to put that in here. You said be woman enough to receive.
And you got to be wife enough to hear what I'm actually saying to you. Because sometimes we talk and the devil will get right in the middle of our conversation. It's like, I'm saying one thing, but you hearing another. I'm saying you're beautiful. You're saying what you want. No, I'm just simply saying you're beautiful. I don't want anything. But because you've been manipulated by not keeping that standard. You know, and a lot of times, you know, the standard was we're supposed to wait until we're married and then we get into the relationship. There's a courting process because men, we were out of place. A certain generation was out of place. There was no man in the home. So there was nobody to say that little boy needs to come through me if he want to get to you. And if he goes around the gate, I'm going to tear you and him up. There was nobody there to say that. And so there was men able to creep into the house. But nonetheless, with that structure being there, then they can have proper dating. You can have proper courting. You know, you can tell, I can model in front of you what I want you to be for my daughter. I have a young man right now in pursuit of my daughter right now, and he and I have moments. And I talk to him in front of you what I want you to be for my daughter. I have a young man right now in pursuit of my daughter right now, and he and I have moments. And I talk to him in front of you what I want you to be for my daughter.
Wait. I'm sorry. That's my computer.
I already knew what was happening. I'm on the AV team, so that's why I got quiet for a minute. It's all good.
I was like, where that come? Okay. But so when you just said that men were out of place and there was nobody there, that is so important because girls date their father, and if nobody's there, who are they dating? Who do they look to? One of the pastors I follow, Pastor Darius Daniels, said there's a lot of people fighting to be something they never seen. My God, when he said that, I literally almost passed out because that is so true. We a lot of times we're trying to emulate or we're trying to be something. Like men are trying to be something. They didn't have a role model to teach them how to be a man. Women are trying to be something, and we didn't have a role model teaching us. Or our mother was our mother and our father, or she was trying to stand in that gap and be that. So now we're so tough and so independent that we don't make room for a man to come in and lead. Woo, listen, I don't know where God's taking this, but I like it. Pastor Paulette, I'm sending you a link.
I was gonna say in every home, like for instance, I had my father. People don't know I come from we had a mixed family, but you would have never known we were a mixed family to look at us, right? But we had a mixed family, and so when you look at it, my father was in place, but I got beat into submission. I call it beat into rebellion, peer pressure. I got called everything from white boy to a punk to a sissy because I didn't want to play women. I didn't want to do this, and then I got down. Here's a kicker though. Here's a kicker. I didn't want to do that, but women did that to me. And most men who become dogs that become super dogs is because somebody dogged them when they were being sincere.
Wow.
Yeah, those are the ones you'll see will run and play games on women like it's nothing, and it's because one person took the most sincere. For me, I was a nerd, and I knew guys that were like me. We read about women. We read about what to do, what to say, how to do, what to say. While everybody was studying football and all this stuff, I'm studying dance. Everybody looking, well, he's a dancer. Yeah, I'm a dancer, but you don't know why I'm a dancer. You see, it took somebody to. My dad didn't get it. My dad was like, I ain't sure because until he saw me dance, he said, "You dance like a man." I said, "Yeah, I'm a guy. What else am I supposed to dance like?"
Yeah, right.
But nonetheless, by him thinking that way, he missed the opportunity to pour into me and say, "Hey, look, I know they look good in them tights, but keep it together." So by the time he finally said something to me, I was in high school. I done had a miscarried baby by then. I was in college, second year of college. By the time he finally spoke to me about even being with a woman, because he was just like, I didn't think I had that issue. I pick with my kids about it all the time because he was in shock. When parents had that shocking conversation, they ask you because they get bold enough. And he asked me that question. And I looked at him and I was like, "Are you doing this? Were you having sex out of?" And I looked at him and was like, "Yeah." like duh, And when he looked at me, now look how soon it came into my life. It got introduced into my life at 14 years old. But what was the kicker? I tell people certain things because I'm very open. I'm humble. I'm open. I'm transparent. You ask me anything, we can talk about it. And depending on what it is, sometimes I say, let me talk to you about it offline. But the introduction to me of understanding the sexuality of a woman was through a porno sitting in my grandmama's neighbor's house at 5 years old.
Oh wow!
Right.
So that set the stage for me.
Let me ask a question about that. So we're focusing on being whole, right? So do you think the foundation is where it starts? I'm kind of giving away the answer. Do you think the foundation of how you're introduced or how you experience your first experience, whatever that may be, is what determines which direction you go in?
I do. Okay. Within the first 5 years, if you can go back to the first 5 years of your life, you will find out why you do what you do today. If you were adventurous, if you were playful, if you were abused, if you were not abused, if you were let's think of some other things. Let's look at just different things. I always tell people you make decisions during that time, you find out how to make decisions during that time, and you develop a mindset. That mindset begins to carry you throughout your course of life. My first encounter with a young lady, still in that same age frame. She came to me. I didn't come to her. So that developed a mindset that a woman is supposed to do what? She's supposed to come to me. I ain't supposed to go to her. So throughout the course of my life, I was attracted and liked a lot of people. But if she didn't come to me, if she didn't make it known that she was interested, I didn't pursue. But it took me getting older to find that out.
What about you, Reverend Lamb? What do you think?
I was kind of the same way. I was shy growing up because I experienced some things in life younger, and it caused me to be introverted. And so through that, if a young lady in junior high school, I wasn't thinking about no girls. All I was thinking about, because I started playing sports at about 9, 10 years old. So all I was thinking about was playing football, playing basketball. All I was thinking about was playing sports. And so for me, if a young lady didn't say, I like you, then I didn't show no interest. Even if I liked her, I never went to a young lady to say, hey, I like you, let's talk, let's date. If they didn't come to me or they didn't send a message, then, I never pursued them. Mm-hmm. And, so we kind of were like me and him were kind of like in the same boat, as far as that goes. And so, even when I was married, initially when I met her as we dated, it was because she had told another young lady that she liked me. And so as a result of that, I went and asked the question. I heard you say you like me, so then we went from there. But
Yup.
Years married today, brother. Yeah, and years and years now later, being in a different situation, I prefer, because the word of God tells me and tells us, all of us, he that findeth the wife finds a good thing. So my preference now is to pursue the woman or go after someone that I like or whom. And what I've also learned in that, what I like, sometimes what we like is not always what God liked for us.
Nope.
So what I'm learning is I want who God has for me because I want it to last. I don't want it to be temporary. I want it to last. So I want who God has for me. She could be the prettiest. She could be the prettiest on the outside or be the ugliest on the inside. That ain't what I want.
Right. That's so true.
So
can I give you a dating tip?
For me.
I was about to say, hey, Pastor, can I give you a dating tip?
What's that? You can hit me up on Facebook or Messenger if you don't want to say it on here.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's also because I want to say it out loud. I'm just making sure I say it correctly.
Okay.
Whoever God has for us, right? He's gonna honor whoever you choose, but whoever you choose, we got to be careful to choose who's according to whatever God's called you to. Because
right.
we sometimes we will choose what our flesh wants because she bad.
There you go.
But spiritually she on zero. Then sometimes spiritually she on fleet, but physically she on zero, or mentally she on zero. Because you could be 100 spiritually, be 100 physically, but you ain't got no common sense, and we be in trouble. Because I'm gonna be ready to shoot somebody behind you. So in our choosing, just look at that mission that God has you on, and she will be already in your field, and you will want to let her glean from you, and give her a little something without letting her know you're interested in her. Because most people make a mistake. We lie up front. We learn dating from the world, so we lie up front. We go on a date, and when we go on this date, we fly. We suited and booted, from head to toe, we looking good. That ain't you every day. So you about to get a boyfriend. Right. You about to get, or you about to get a girl, or you about to get a shorty. But you ain't about to get no wife. You ain't about to get no husband.
Let me take my shoe off.
What I'm saying? Yeah, you speaking the truth though. You speaking the truth.
Yeah. But I told a young lady, I said, "You want a husband?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "You sure you want a husband?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Look, when you go on this date, first of all, don't let them pay for the date. You pay. Don't you pay for yourself every time you go out?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Don't let them pay for the date." And this ain't because I want you to be like you trying to be, I'm independent. I said, I want you to put your worst foot forward. Worst foot being, I want him to see the real you. Make sure your kids are on 9,000. I want, when you call you fussing at, because she had kids. So let him hear you fussing at the kids so he can see the real you. When you go on a date, eat. Don't be dainty. Don't be cute. Eat your food. Let him see what you really look like. Because the day you don't eat the way you eat on that first date, he going to feel like you lied to him. A lot of times men wake up to a whole nother person. You remember, I'm going to get you, sucker. And all of a sudden she took the wig off and she took the eyes off and and he ran right out the room. And so
Katrina,
I told her,
say what? What you mean, Katrina? What you mean when you say what? I think she's saying say what to the pay for the date.
Yeah, so here's the thing. You don't want to be a glorified prostitute. You do want to know what he can pay for. You do want to know, but he can tell you that. But if you're honest with him, he'll be honest with you. But if you make it seem like I gotta invest in you. Is that
a Christian man? Because when we say, I'm saying, well, listen, let me tell you, I met some Christian men that ain't so Christian. Yeah. But I'm saying when you say
real Christian man, when
you say, she said I gotta pay for the date. When you say that he will be honest if you're honest.
Right.
What? Tell me, because I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because people lie.
Yes, they do.
They send a representative. They try to say what they think you want to hear, opposed to just being open and honest and transparent and allowing you the opportunity to make the decision. You know what I mean?
So you want to be honest. You want to set the stage of honesty. You want to set the stage of being open. You want to set the stage of being transparent. The reason being is because if you don't, then you're going to become something that you're not. You're presenting a lie. Now the person shows up, and they do show up because people show up all the time with the representatives. I've had several representatives. I've been several representatives, so I know. They will show up. But understand this: if you have to maintain that representative, if you've been with me, maintain that representative for 41 days, that representative is going to become permanently who you are. Now you done set yourself up. But if you cannot maintain that, most people can't maintain a facade longer than 21 days. So stay consistent, stay persistent, and don't ignore red flags. If honestly you don't like the way I eat when I'm just being the way that I am, then I ain't the one for you. Because my husband gonna have to be with me every day. My wife is with me every day. and sometimes she hurt my feelings. But she started out hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you. But she started out that way. She ain't just get that way. So when she does things, a lot of you not. I wish she was here. I ain't gonna talk about it till she get here. But we started out a certain way. So I don't get surprised when she goes certain places. I anticipate it. Actually, I try to get ahead of it, get ahead of the storm. But I already know you about to do this. Look, my favorite thing. But to the young lady that says I have to pay for the date, ma'am, you don't. You can go Dutch. You can go half on it, but don't let him cover everything.
Well, she's actually married. I think she's just speaking out in general.
Okay. Now, if you married, now watch this. There are times we go out, and I'm so used to paying, I'll get ready to pay and be like, I will try to limit the date based off of my budget, and then my wife will go, I got it. Oh, that's a lovely sound to a brother. Oh, my wallet stopped screaming. I stopped getting attitude about all the debits on my account. I said, you got what? I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go home and rub you up. You get in a tub of water, I'm rubbing your feet tonight. You done what?
Yes.
I'm telling you. Every brother should have an apron, by the way.
One of our Facebook, Micheline said, they will paint the picture that they think you want to see. Girl, yes. Now, that is so true. A lot of times, people will try to... I was a little too excited. I'm just saying, a lot of times people will build themselves up to who they want to be, but not who they currently are. Right. Or they'll build themselves up. That's why someone told me to shut up. Like when you go on dates, just shut up. Because people will tell you who they are. Stop telling them what you want, what you're looking for, all this other stuff, and just listen to them. Because sometimes people are so good that they'll listen to all the things you say you want, you need, you like, and then they'll be all of that. And next thing you know, you with Mr. Hyde, because Dr. Jekyll has left the building. But I think that's good. Katrina said, "I'm glad I got my husband," and Yvette said, "Me too." Yes. Listen, so let's talk about being whole.
Okay.
Now, what is whole? You know what I mean? That's this new buzzword, I will say, that's going on, like two wholes come together and be one, and all this. You got to be 100 and 100. All of these things that we hear. But what is whole? What does whole look like?
You want to take that?
That's a good question, because only a therapist could tell you. Because I can't tell you what whole looks like, because until if you've never been broken and repaired, then you can't say you're whole. So Amen. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really tell you what whole looks like, because I've never been 100% whole. Because truth be told, if we really want to know, all of us have some baggage that we carry around. And what I'm learning and trying to do is understand about myself is that get rid of my baggage. Forgiveness helps us to become whole. Love yourself. You got to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, it's difficult for you to love someone else, because you'll never understand how to love them, because you don't know how to love yourself. So
right, and you can never teach them how to love you because you don't love
yourself. That's exactly right. So it's one of those situations where it's like trial and error. You'll be making a whole lot of mistakes. But one thing I know, one thing I've learned is that no matter what the situation or circumstance, we have to, as Christians, we have to learn forgiveness. No matter what the situation or circumstance, we have to learn forgiveness, man. And we can forgive, because we have this thing, and I was talking to my daughter about it earlier. So I can forgive you, but I ain't gonna never forget. Well, guess what? If you ain't forgave me, then guess what? You ain't gonna forget, because you ain't forgave me. Truth be told, you haven't forgave. You can't tell me you forgave me, but yet every time I slip up, you bring up what I did last week or what I did last month or last year. You haven't forgave me. And guess what? You know, if we want God to forgive us for all the things that we've done wrong in this world, then we have to forgive one another on a daily basis. You have to be willing to forgive.
Yes. Yes. I love the fact where Yvette says forgiveness is a process. Forgiveness is definitely a process. And what I like about that, and what I like about what you said is, I think forgiveness is the foundation of being whole. A lot of times we are walking around with unforgiveness with ourselves. That's how the Forgive Her conference was birthed. We haven't forgiven ourselves for mistakes we've made, situations we've allowed, things we've been through, and now we're putting that burden on someone else to make us feel good, make me happy, make me all of these things. So, and I think that's too much pressure on anyone. The only one that can do those things is God. God is the only one that can make you happy and feel you and all of that. No person on this work, because we're too scattered, we're too up and down, we're too all over the place to be able to make someone else happy and joyful and give you peace and all these other things. You have to have something inside of you where you say, in the midst, like Pastor was saying, or Brother Ed was saying earlier, even in the midst of the chaos and confusion, I choose you, and you know I'm not gonna give up on you. We're gonna work through it. We're gonna fight through it. And I just think that forgiveness thing is so important that a lot of people brush it off. We do say that a lot of times. I'm gonna forgive you, but I'll never forget. My thing is, I'll never forget being raped. I will never forget that. But it does not have the sting that it had on my life when it happened, because I've forgiven that person. I have moved on, and that incident no longer has power over me. So my thing is, when you forgive a person, you step on my foot, it hurt, you broke my toe. Okay, I forgive you for that. I'm not gonna keep reliving that. I'm gonna become a victor. I overcame it. A lot of times we are victims. We come to the situation as a victim opposed to as a victor. Like, I overcame it. You hurt me, but I overcame it, and it's okay. You did the best you could. I forgive you, and we move on. Sometimes we go, you hurt me, and you did this to me, and we keep doing that over and over again, and we don't allow ourselves. You're the one that's in prison. You're the one burdened down with all of that, So I love that when you say the forgiveness piece. Katrina said, "All right, Reverend Lamb," and
and let me say this about the forgiveness thing.
You are broken and have done the work to heal. Okay, go ahead.
Let me say this about the forgiveness thing. Forgiveness is a process, right? Mm-hmm. But guess what? The process don't take 10 years. It shouldn't take 10 years. If I cuss you out yesterday, 10 years later, you still telling people I cuss you out? Come on, for real now? Come on. That process should not take that long.
Right.
Now, there are other things, the traumatic things that happens in our life, like you said, being sexually abused. Mm-hmm. What I had to understand was that I had to forgive that person in order for me to be able to get past that situation. I didn't go to that person. I asked the Lord, God, please help me to forgive this person. So God helped me with the forgiveness part. See what I'm saying? So it is a process, but you start the process once the situation or circumstance is over with. When you lay in bed at night, or when you lay down, before you lay down at night, you ask God to help you to forgive that person, or help you with your forgiveness process. Start the process right away. Don't let the process take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, especially if you're a married person. If you're a married person, or you're dating, or you're a couple, y'all dated, the forgiveness process has to take place almost right away, so that you don't 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Because say, what man wants to come home to a woman every day, and she's still talking about he didn't buy her flowers for her birthday, and her birthday was 3 months ago. You still talking about it. You haven't forgiven him. For whatever reason, he didn't buy the flowers. For whatever reason, he didn't buy the flowers. That's a question you got to ask him. But I'm just simply saying, that's a question you had to ask him. But I'm simply saying, for anything, for any reason, he didn't take you out on your anniversary. Maybe he said he didn't have the money. But I done heard this thing where our anniversary was coming up, and had 365 days to prepare, or 364 days to prepare. So for you to say I didn't have the money, you had a whole year to prepare, because from last year you start right then to the next year.
Exactly. Put $1 away, $2,
Hey,
$5. Hold on, before you come on. You had mentioned that forgiveness doesn't take 10 years. Yvette said, can we put a time limit on forgiveness? Yeah, I don't think we can.
Okay, you can't put a time limit on all. Some things, like I said, traumatic situations, traumatic circumstances, some can take a little longer. But when I'm talking about the simple things, husband and wife should never go to bed mad with one another. You know what I'm saying? If you're a couple dating, you should never lay your head down at night without talking to that person about whatever the situation or whatever the circumstance that upset you or upset him. You all should never lay down with unforgiveness in your heart. Traumatic situations take longer to forgive. But just everyday stuff that, some of us will forgive a person in the street sometimes faster than we'll forgive a person who live in the house with us every day.
And that's true.
That don't make sense. That don't make sense.
Right. Well, the Bible says the wounds of a friend are many. Mm-hmm. So the only reason why it's bothering me the way that it's bothering me is because it's you. Now, I'll forgive a stranger faster, because I don't have to see that stranger no more, but I have to keep looking at the person who did this to me every day. And though it may be a small thing to us, remember, it's a gnat that kills a lion. It's a small thing that gets in his eye that takes him down. So it's a small thing. It's the little foxes, that spoil the vines, not the big things. So something as simple as, for instance, if a father says something out of the way to a child, that's traumatic. Now, a husband says something out the way to a wife, we adults. But she was once a daughter.
You better say so. It's traumatic.
So sometimes we offend the daughter inside of the wife, and they will respond, and then we'll go, they too sensitive, or why you being so sensitive today? No, it's not that. We just offended the daughter in her, and sometimes every now and then you got. I'm sorry, baby. Every now and then, and then sometimes you gotta look and be like,
one more time to the people in the back.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. Sometimes you gotta say that. I'm sorry, or you gotta go the opposite. And sometimes you gotta restore, baby. You better than that, and guess what? You've grown past that more than you know. You gotta speak to where she's going to. So you gotta speak to the queen, and you gotta speak to the daughter, and vice versa. Sometimes you gotta talk to the boy inside the man, because it'll be the weirdest things that set us off. we're different beasts, and all of us are different. All of us are different. Just like all the ladies are different. So the other thing is, it's okay. It's okay to put a time. It's okay to put a time limit on, as far as if you're gonna say, hey, look, let's table this and talk about this later. Because this is still bothering you.
Pause right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, ladies, please, somebody back me up. I hate that.
I know.
Because when are we gonna come back and talk? When are we coming back?
But that's why I said you got to put the timeline on it. So in other words, can we table and talk about this later on tonight before we go to bed? Now, so tonight before we go to bed, you done took a shower. Make sure you do everything you got to do ahead of time, and you ready to have this conversation before we go to bed. Because see, we forget, we done watched the game, and we forgot we supposed to have a conversation. But you ain't forgot. So before we go to bed, like, hey, we got to cut the game tonight, bro. We got to cut the game off. I know it's the finals, but we got to cut the game tonight, because we didn't say it before we go to bed. And we hoping you fall asleep before the game over. But you may just make it. So since you made it, we got to have this conversation. So, and it took somebody had to teach me that hey, it's okay to say we're going to talk about it later, but you need to give a definite time that we're going to talk about that later. Because what we're hoping is that you forget. I hope she forget all about this.
A time. Okay.
Right.
And then, wait, I know you got to go back to the forgiveness. I know you got something for that, but I want to read some of the comments. Okay. So Katrina said, really, Runita? Then she said, it's a process. If it takes 10 years, it takes 10 years.
10 years.
That was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got to say, I'm sorry, baby. Then Micheline said, preach, preacher. And then Sonia said, hey, y'all. Yvette Hurdle said, now, no, we cannot talk about it later. We having this conversation now.
See now, if that gonna end up in a fight, if that gonna end up in an argument right there. One or two things gonna happen. If that he gonna shut down, and you gonna just be talking to him, and then he gonna explode, and then you gonna be like, who you talking to like that? But he been listening to you rip them apart. Now, if we wrong, we're simply wrong. My wife has been teaching me this for years. If you wrong, how dare you try to flip this and make it seem like I'm wrong for talking to you like you wrong? I was like, and one of my homeboys called me one day. So look, he called me one day and said, hey, look, stop arguing. Just let her say what she need to say. And I said, okay. So I took his advice. And when she realized, and he said, let me talk to her. And I don't know what he said to her. Maybe one day she'll tell me. Because when she got off the phone, she unleashed the Kraken, not the beast, the Kraken. And by the time she finished talking to me, I did not talk for 3 days other than, what do you need? Where are we going? But I shut down. I think I was listening to John Legend in the living room crying one day. This broke a brother down about this day. So, but that was because many times I hadn't allowed her. I had too many of those. We're going to talk about it later without actually revisiting the conversation. So when she finally got it out, she got it out. And to this day, she gets it out, but it's just how it is. And if there's some situations, and she's here now, baby, it's okay if I share. Walk around the corner. Is it okay if I share a situation? Give permission.
I know that's right.
But let me say this. Let me say this.
She coming up here looking like Pebbles.
Let me say this while he getting this answer. When I say the process shouldn't take 10 years, listen, everything in life, pain, heartache, heartbreak, is a process. It can take as long as you allow it to take. But I'm saying when it comes to the simple things in life, a simple, I'm sorry should suffice, or a simple, I apologize should be okay. I'm saying the simple things shouldn't take 10 years. 10 years from now, you still shouldn't be talking about something simple that happened. You didn't open the door for me when we first met. Okay, I didn't open the door, but now I open the door for you every time when you get in the car when we're together. I'm saying the simple thing. I'm not talking about something traumatic. I'm not talking about something that was devastating. I'm talking about something simple that we sometimes hold on to, and it just creates more and more division, between us as mates, husband and wife, or even when you're dating, just, it creates more animosity. I'm not talking about something that's traumatic. I'm talking about the simple stuff that we shouldn't allow to divide us, come into there and divide us. Because if we really feel like we're together and we're trying to be on the same page, then we should be able to get past the little small things. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about something traumatic.
I agree with that. I think it's just that what's big to you may not be big to me, and vice versa. Everybody has their own way of measuring, and you don't know what thing is gonna set somebody off. Like Chris and I just in conversation, I could say something like that's not right, and that may not mean anything to me, but to him it could be very upsetting to him, or it could be hurtful to him. I was just using it as an example. So I'm saying we don't know, but that's where why communication is so important, where you can say, hey, that when you say that to me, it really bothers me. I don't like when you say that, and then the person, if they love you, they adjust. I want to read these comments. I know he ready to bubble over. Katrina said, we talking now. You got 5 minutes to get yourself together. I love Katrina. Yvette said, what's simple? My simple is not your simple. And then Katrina came back with good, Yvette. And then Micheline said, what's simple to one person is big to others. Yep. I think that's what everybody that's the thing that we're all looking at. Oh my God, I just looked and got a glimpse at how fine my husband was. It just it I I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, who is that? Oh, that's my husband. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pastor, because I'm ready for this. I'm ready for
Okay.
this
So
drop on that.
so a couple of things. Some things about just some simple things. Sometimes you think it shouldn't be that big or it shouldn't have gotten that large. We don't know. Sometimes words again are triggers. I give you an example. The other day we were having a conversation. It wasn't necessarily heated fellowship. It was just fellowship. You know what I'm saying? And I made a statement to the effect of I'm not I'm not victimizing you. And so I'm not making you a victim. What was it? How I say?
You ain't stop acting like a victim. You ain't the victim.
Stop acting like a victim. You ain't a victim. And she looked at me and said, "Don't say that to me no more." And if I started, usually I would go back, but I realized the seriousness in her eyes. Like, no, seriously, I was like, "Don't, you can't tell me not to say something no more. I mean, I can't promise you that. I can't promise you that because if I say I promise you I ain't gonna do it and I do it again, guess what I just did? I lied, and she gonna remember. I promise. And I done that before. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, no, she ain't gonna box me in. And in my head, I'm thinking, you ain't gonna box me in. So she said, no, seriously, because when you say that I'm a victim, it takes me back to a place where things have happened to me in my past. I'm not gonna say those things out loud, but unless she want them to say it out loud, let her say those things. But things have happened to me where I was the victim. And so when you say that, those words, that's where that takes me. It's not taking me to what we're talking about. It takes me there. And the anger that she feels towards the people who did that, she then unleashes on me. So it's almost like, don't do that. So I said, well, so then I asked this question, what words can I use? Well, what word would you use? You know what I'm saying? Say, defense. We started thinking of other words to use other than that. So now that I know what's attached to the word for her, I know the rhema of it. I know the spirit of the word for her. Then I have to back off that word. And I let her know I'm not gonna be perfect, but if you hear me about to go there, remind me, like my bad, you right. I'll dial back, you right. That may even change whatever conversation we could be having heated fellowship. It's almost like they laugh at and I use a man-to-man situation. Me and my brother, they laugh because when we argue, he and I could be face to face like this, nose to nose. It's like an umpire fussing with a baseball player. We going. But let a glob of spit come out one eye mouth and hit the other, and we know it. Not those little sprinkles, but a glob. He will stop the conversation. Now, he has literally stopped the conversation and went, "My bad, brother. Let me get that off your face. My bad." Why? Because when we were little, he hocked a loogie in my face, and I hocked a loogie in his, and we tore the whole house up. I mean, broke stuff, broke lights, fences, TV. We broke up everything. We was tearing up furniture. We fought so hard behind this. So we know that if spit fly, somebody got to stop and clean it up right then. Because we too old to go there. At this age, we don't go there.
Right.
And so there's trauma attached. And I say that because sometimes there's trauma attached to the smallest thing. Something that's nasty. It seems so nasty. I didn't take offense. I know we fussing, but it could offend that other person to the point where it cut them to their heart. It cut them to their heart. And when it comes to, it could be something small. You never opened the door for me. Why? Because my mama taught me that a real man holds the door. A real man pulls out the chair. So I may not do it all the time, but you should at least be working towards that end.
Yeah.
Because it is a relational requirement for her. Now, she's compromising by being with you. She made the decision to choose you. The least you could do is learn how to open the door for me.
Right.
You may not get it. You may not get it in year 1. You may not get it in year 5. But by year 10, I'm still holding on to it because I have an expectation of greatness out of my king. What man want a queen that don't have great expectations of him?
That's correct.
That's good.
You get what I'm saying? And vice versa. What queen want a king that can't see the best in her, that don't expect greatness out of her? I love it when I come home and I know you're comfortable and you chilled and you got on the house shoes and you kick back and the family's cool and you watching TV. But I also love to come home and see you in an apron in that kitchen doing your thug thizzle, making sure your boy is good. I love that too. I also love it when I come home and you got a fresh dew. You think I don't notice, but I do. I run in the back and spruce up and throw some cologne on real quick because I ain't been to the barber shop in 3 weeks, and so I got to at least look like I belong to you. So this is the relationship piece is a ebb and flow. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be ugly. You talked about whole. I wanted to chime in on that. Most people have never mastered being single, so they suck in relationships.
Whew.
That we never to be single. Miles Monroe says in the book single, married, separated, and life after divorce by Dr. Miles Monroe. Great book, changed my life, changed my perspective. And if we don't learn how to be single, which means to be separate, unique, and whole individuals, separate, unique, and whole individuals, separate and unique and whole in your finances, mentally, physically, socially, emotionally, until you become alone, you do not qualify to be with somebody. Alone
Whew.
does not mean literally lonely. Alone means to be all one. It's a conjunction word. All
Mhm.
one. I'm complete. I don't need you. I don't need you to validate me. I don't need you for my finances. I don't need you spiritually. I don't need you socially. I don't need you economically. I don't need you. The moment that you get to the point, all these ladies who are independent, throw your hands up with me. If you're with me, you need a man. You're at the point that you qualify for somebody else because I don't need you. That means I'm with you because I want you. And that's a big
Yes.
difference.
That's
That's a
it.
big
Big
difference.
difference.
And
It's a
so,
big
because
difference.
people don't master that before they say, I do, they don't master that before they start dating. They end up out there looking for somebody to fulfill them. And only God can fill that 20%. That eighty
Yes.
twenty. God fills that 20%. Actually, God fills the whole vessel. So it's like once we are full and I'm whole, now I can say, hey, look, bro, I can't go home with you tonight. Yes, I'm on fire. That's why I'm not gonna put myself in a situation one on one with you, because I'm gonna jump your bones. Brothers, we gotta be honest. You looking
Miss
good. If I get a
Boasting.
one on one opportunity, I'm gonna snatch you. So let me just go ahead and drop you off at the door. Don't lean
Yes.
over here and try to kiss me. We're in the car. Just let me hug you on the side hug. It's okay to do the church hug because if you do the full hug and she breathes wrong, you gonna snatch her up. Just be honest with yourself. But if we don't spend enough time by ourselves, we don't develop that strength about ourselves. We don't establish those boundaries for ourselves. And even in being married, sometimes it's good to revert back to that dating stage, that pursuing phase, because we forget to pursue. I got you, but we forget the pursuit. That's the thank you. See right there, that's a love thing. Thank you, bro. Thank you. but we
Listen,
forget the
I
pursuit. My
almost
wife would
said
let me know.
legend ended the show. Click up. Bye bye.
Yeah. And don't miss the everybody's love is different. My wife, I always you hear me talk about different things because she teaches me. The Lord teach me, but I'm forever in her school. I think I'm just a kid in a kindergartner right now. I think I just started not making ugly pictures in her school. But she teaches me different things, and sometimes we think we're showing love, and sometimes we think we're helping. And she'll be like, I didn't need you to do that. Now my feelings are hurt because I did something extra that I didn't need to do. Hey, sis. I like this game, man.
Look who done popped in the virtual building.
You see it?
Pastor Paulette. Oh wait. Something.
That was my
She ain't
wife.
got her
My
mic
wife
on or
was.
something.
You got your mic on?
She ain't got something
Oh,
working.
Yeah, her mic
you
not on or something.
your mic not on? Can't
I
hear
pulled
you
it
yet. She
out.
comes. She'll be back. She'll be back. She'll be back. But yeah, so we have to realize that I'm showing you love. I'm giving you love. I think I'm giving you what you need. But if you don't tell me what you need, then I can't give you what you need. And then I cannot validate what I'm giving you and say, well, I'm showing you love. And then you'll go, okay, well, how are you showing me love? And you go, well, and sometimes we say the simplest stuff. I help pay the bills around here, and I take out the trash, and we talk about some things that we do. And my wife looked at me one day, and she said, if you were not married to me and you were single, would you be taking the trash out? Yeah. Well, you ain't doing that to show me you love me. If you weren't with me, would you be paying these bills? Yeah. Well, you're not doing that to show me you love me.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. So I have to go back and find out what does it mean to love me. And every now and then she'd be like, "You still doing it?" And I'd be like, "Still doing what?" Either you're not saying things, or you're doing some old things, or you're starting to look like something that hurt me once. And I'd be like, well, I can't fix my face. I still got the same face, but trust me, it's not the same intention. That's all I can say.
I want to jump in there real quick. While Pastor Paula is trying to get her stuff set up. So you was just talking about how we can hurt each other from a dating perspective. We're dating, we like each other, we don't live together, but we're dating, and you hurt me. Do we end the relationship, or do we work it out? Because sometimes I feel like there are red flags, but then there are situations that you're going to experience in marriage where you're going to have to work through. So shouldn't you also be willing to work through some things while you're dating, opposed to just calling it quits?
Definitely. Can you hear me clearly? I took my headphones off because I want my wife to be able to hear. So if the sound gets bad, let me know and I'll plug it back in. Yeah, definitely there are things that you should work through. Because if we can't work through while we're dating, there's nowhere in the world we're gonna make it while we're married. And that's the reality of it. But here's the thing. Also, you have to clearly establish your boundaries while dating, because if you're constantly crossing my no-no zone while we're dating, you're going to be horrible when we get married. And guess whose fault it'll be? Mine, because I accepted it.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like, I agree.
Absolutely.
You know, the key. Hey, what's going on? The key is, like you
there's
said,
so much going on around here, girl. My Wi-Fi was acting crazy.
Mine is acting crazy too. It's out completely. I don't know what's going on. It's been out. That's why I'm on my cell phone trying to make it work. We're trying to fit this picture together.
Yeah, my husband is doing. My husband downstairs doing his sports show.
Oh, okay. So what we're talking about, I'm sure you've been tuning in.
As a Brother Ed said, it's important to establish boundaries, but not just establish boundaries. But one of the things I recently learned is you establish boundaries, but you have to maintain or keep those boundaries and have respect one for another. And in order that you don't cross those lines or, go across those boundaries, you have to be able to not just establish boundaries, but maintain those boundaries. And it takes the same way it takes two to tango, it takes two to maintain the boundaries. And you got to say what you mean and mean what you say, and and make sure that the other person is hearing you when you say what you're saying. Not just hearing you, but listening to what you're saying. Because sometimes we can hear you, and we listening, but we ain't hearing you. Because we have, we listening, but we ain't hearing you because we have other things or thoughts on our minds, or just I ain't trying to hear that, without saying it out loud. So we just have to make sure that communication has to stay strong. If that communication stays strong, then you can cross hills, mountains, you can be in the valley, but you're gonna make it back to the mountaintop because that communication is strong.
That's right. I totally agree with that. Hey, Lady Deborah, how you doing? So happy you all are here. So we want you guys to chime in really quickly. We're at our 1 hour mark, but we're going to stay on an extra 10 minutes since I have these beautiful ladies that join us. We are talking about being whole. We're talking about, of course, the series right now is Dating While Christian. And we're talking about both on the single side and the married side, because Brother Ed brought up something so important, that in order to be successful as a single, as a married, you have to be successful as a single. And we're just talking about how being whole is important before you find your person. Don't try to get whole after you get your person. Take the time to get whole before you find your person, and let that carry over into your marriage. So you guys can jump in, chime in. We talked about forgiveness. We talked about a communication, and we talked about when we, having a fellowship. I love that. When we're having fellowship and that fellowship is getting heated, and the husband most of the times will be like, not now. They want to put it on pause, but they don't give us a time when we're going to talk about it. Like, oh, so it's just indefinitely on pause. You're not going to tell me when we're going to have this. No, we're going to talk now. So those are the things we're talking about. So just chime in, jump in, what you got to say. What say you?
I say this, when it comes, if you want to put it on pause, that's fine. But the important thing about putting it on pause is, and this for Brother Ed, if you put it on pause, man, it's like you have to establish a time frame to talk about it. And the best time to talk about it is, for real, if you want to be honest and truthful about it, the best time to talk about it is now. If we ain't going to work, if the ball game, it has a time limit. But if you take the 10 minutes to talk about it now, then you got another whole 38 minutes to watch the game, or another 50 minutes to watch the game if you're talking about football. So the best time to talk about it is right then and there. But if by some chance or some reason it's the end of the game and you don't want to talk about it because it's the last minute of the game you're trying to get, then immediately after the game you have to talk about it. Because this is the thing. We have a tendency to, if we don't talk about it right then and there, we ain't gonna talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
See, we ain't gonna talk about it if we don't talk about it right then and there. Because I know for me, when it's time to go to bed, I ain't got time. I don't want to be no talking. I want to go to bed, go to sleep. But I don't want to be talking about. I don't want to be laying in the bed talking about something that we got upset, that you upset me about. Let's talk about that while we're sitting up, before we take our clothes off, before we take a bath. Let's talk about that stuff. Get all that stuff out the way. So once we get in the bath, that's done.
Reverend Land, we putting you on pause. Somebody got a question, and that somebody is me. Are you telling me that the game is more important? That's what it sounds like.
No.
If it's at the beginning, talk. But if it's at the end, don't talk.
If it's at the end of the game, the last minute of the game, and the Redskins about to score against the Cowboys, then you got to put that on.
Come on now, you're talking good there, son. You're talking good, son.
First of all, that's never gonna happen. So
we shouldn't even be talking about nothing like that anyway during the middle of the game. We might be playing the Steelers about to win. You know what I'm saying? But there's a time and a place for everything, and I'm simply saying that before you go to bed, you need to talk about whatever's going on that you had a disagreement about. Don't go to bed having a disagreement and not settle it before you go to bed. Even if you say we simply agree to disagree, then we still came to a conclusion.
Yeah.
I raised my hand like I was in the classroom.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The thing is, that thing when most men, they want to put it off. They want to put off this conversation that may. Because a lot of times when we want to talk and they don't want to, it's because they don't want to engage in whatever this conversation is. And they will come up with the excuses. Well, you want to talk while I'm watching the game. You want to do this while I'm doing this. And they say these things because they're really deflecting, because they don't want to talk about it at all. But I'm praying for y'all men that y'all will understand that when we're in that place where we want to talk, a game and nothing else, don't ever make a woman feel like what you doing is more important than taking the time to respond to what's important to her. Whether you understand her feelings, you gotta validate those things.
Amen.
I agree with you 100%.
Can I
and when y'all do that, with that reflecting, you just make the situation worse. And so when you put a woman in a position where she feels like what you're doing holds more value, even if it's just in that moment, we gonna turn up on that.
Yeah, you're right.
Can I ask a question? And it's just look. Now I'm inquisitive now. So it's just me asking now. Are there literally times where we should honestly be able to say, "Hey, we need to pause this conversation before we have it, unless it's absolutely emergency per se. If you are a teleworker and you're working from home and you have an important deadline, this may not be the exact moment for me to stop and have this conversation, because I'm gonna get fired and then we're gonna have another conversation. So,
Okay,
but that's not always the case. That's not always the case.
Not when you can find time to do something else. No.
Hold on. That's what I was going to say.
I told y'all,
we're deflecting, because you will take those moments that you could get fired to do something else. Most of the time, we're deflecting. Men are deflecting when they do.
We're deflectors.
The only reason I would say, you say, can we pause this? If it's really getting to a place where it's going to be ugly and nothing's going to be resolved. As married couple, we got to get to a place where we realize when the enemy is trying to interfere. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we're so hell bent on getting our point out or dealing with this thing when the energy is not right. Now, this is when the energy is not right. But when we realize that if we play into that thing, all we hurt is each other, we got to stop it. We got to stop it.
Yeah.
Right?
I was going to say that same thing.
Because
I think the best time to stop, to where there's a legitimate pause, is when it's not going to be a productive conversation. When you're not going to resolve anything, you might start attacking one another and saying things that you're going to regret. And, you know, I think that's a proper time. But I think at that time, you still need to say, we're going to pause this and we'll revisit this, such and such. Don't just be like, not now, not now.
Oh, here we go again.
But let me tell you something.
Those are straight argument starters. For real, again? Yeah. You ain't over that yet.
But what?
To get in trouble.
We really do have to reschedule it though. The problem is we'll do that and never reschedule it. And guess when it come back up? When it's heated again. And this time it's worse.
It's worse, yeah.
So we got to really look out for each other and say, okay, we'll pause it, but let's schedule another time and we're gonna sit at the table and we're gonna talk about this. Because as long as the woman is smiling, a man ain't gonna bring it back up. He ain't gonna want to talk.
Right. Well, you know what? Right there, sis, is a place of growth, a place for us to grow. In other words, there are times that we will bring it back up. I had to learn over the years. There's sometimes I initiate conversations that I know could potentially leave me with my head in a noose. I'm serious, and it's because I need to make sure that when the wind blows through her heart, that area don't still hurt her. Because if it does, it could pop up at the wrong time, at the wrong place. So I try to make sure we're in a safe environment. Let's go out. Let's go for a walk down on Portside. Let's go for a walk on the beach. Matter of fact, let's take a quick bay date. You know, let's go down and check into a hotel for the night, and you know, we go down and eat and drink what we want to drink, eat what we want to eat, and then going up here and let's sit and talk for a little bit and see where we are about this subject. This time away is just about this subject and this subject alone. It ain't supposed to talk about everything else, even though it may result in fireworks and wonderful experiences. We need to start off having and dealing with the hard thing. And a lot of times I like to table conversations till it's about bedtime anyway, because we, like I said before, we have 7 children and a grandbaby, and he is at that terrible 2 phase. So sometimes it's good for me. My door is closed and it's locked, and you expect me to be in my room. This is the time to talk to me. So when we're done, and we can resolve our heated fellowship, and with a good movie, or you know, we can resolve it when we're done. You know.
But I'm the complete opposite. I don't have the patience for that.
Right.
Don't bring it up if you don't want to talk about it right now, because the whole time you saying, hey, can we talk? Hey, I got something I need to talk to you about later. Don't bring it up if you ain't ready to talk right now. Because my mind is going to be on my mind the whole time. All right, what we need to talk about. So if you going to say that, then you need to follow up what we talking about.
Right. So you can't say I need to talk to you about something later. You need to tell me what we need to talk about later.
Specify what we're talking about.
Later, we need to talk about why these kids don't ever do what we say. You know, specify.
Because that's a distraction,
right?
Sonia said, "Pause is for pondering in preparation for healthy discussion." And then she said, "Don't tell me we'll talk about it later. Then when later comes, you act like you don't know what we are talking about." Yes.
Exactly.
So we have selective amnesia.
Yes. I don't know what Katrina
said. It's a traumatic
event.
We wipe it out.
Then she said, "No, they got 5 minutes for real, for real." Yvette said, "Yes." Katrina said, "Nope." Yvette said, "Nope." That was me. And then Micheline said, "You paint a picture of what's important in avoiding."
Yep.
And Katrina said, "Let's talk now, not later. Don't bring it up if you're not ready to talk about it."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So question. If we do engage in the conversation that you long to hear, one thing I learned is that my wife bringing up a conversation to me is not always because she wants me to fix what's going on. Sometimes it's simply because she wants me to hear her heart, and it's my job to be her sounding board. And I'm a fixer. Men are naturally fixers. We curers. We want to try to cure a problem. We want to fix it. Give me a tool and show me what I'm supposed to, take a hammer and go bang a screw in the wall with all wrong tools. But we ready to fix it, And sometimes we have to just listen in that moment. And even if it stings, see, I don't like it when it stings. When it stings, I want on the inside that inner chatter starts. And I try to stop the conversation because at that point, I'm no longer engaging in what you're saying, and I'm probably missing important information. And that's not your fault. That's my fault. Something hit, it hurt, and now I'm talking on the inside. So I'm waiting for you to pause because I'm ready to answer what you said 5 minutes ago, and you didn't talk 5 more minutes and probably answer what it is I was waiting to say. But I tapped out when you hit me and it hurt. Yeah. And so we have to.
I think honestly, Brother Ed, that's a lot of us. That's on both sides as women, not the fixer part, but I'm saying when it hurts. A lot of times our response becomes defensive opposed to just listening and understanding that person is telling us how they feel. Because I want to be respectful of the time, I'm going to give everybody a chance to say, some last thoughts. And then I'm going to ask you if we can continue this conversation next week because it's so good. I don't want to limit it, but I do want to be respectful of everybody's time. So, because the ladies came on late, I'm gonna start with them. Reverend Lamb said he ain't got nothing to say. He out.
His phone probably died. His phone died, man.
Well, bye to you too, then, Shawty. Ruyo, you cut me off. Bye. Like a house phone. He was like, "Hug up." Okay. All right. So we're gonna start with you, Lady Deborah. Then we're gonna finish with Pastor Paulette.
Okay. I'm responding to what you just said.
You can just say as in general, dating while Christian, anything that you want to leave the people with, anything that you want to, just pour out. Yeah.
Well, first off, I apologize for coming in late. I was at choir rehearsal. I believe dating while saved is not an easy thing, and is not something that that believers really discuss and talk about and get into as much as we ought to. So I definitely commend you for this whole forum, most definitely. But it's not easy at all. Oh my God, it's not easy at all. But it is doable. It is doable. And when you do fall short, don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Don't think that God is not gonna love you, that He won't forgive you, that that, you know, it is it. He done erased your name out of the Lamb's Book of Life and you can never get back in it. You know, but you do have to get back up when you do fall. So like you said, we'll continue this next week and just keep striving. Just keep striving.
Yes, thank you. That's so good. And I want to thank you because you talking about being whole is what brought this topic up. So I appreciate that when you chimed in a couple of weeks ago. I wrote that down. That's going to be the next one. So thank you so much for that. Okay, Pastor Paulette.
What I want to say is people need to start looking at being single as a unique opportunity to really begin to love yourself.
Yes.
And dating while Christian, so if you're Christian and you're single and loving God, because a lot of times we come into relationships and all of us got a journey, and we come into relationships with broken pieces, with experiences, and we're putting the responsibility on the one that we're dating or about to marry or married to fix things in us that only God can.
Oh,
and so we come into the relationship all wrong because it's not their responsibility to be the God in your life.
That's right.
Husbands be husbands, wives be wives, and let God be God. And so there's some things that you don't feel right about in your husband, and you trying everything to get him to see it or get him to change it. Well, when did you lay it before God? Because God's the only one that's able to transform when our hearts are and minds are in that place to want to be. And so sometimes we come in all wrong. We love, but we come in with putting our heaviness on someone else, or then putting the heaviness on us to make someone change. And so the best thing we can do in our time of dating single is to love ourselves, get healed, get closer to God. So when we actually become as one, then we are forced to be reckoned with. You get what I'm saying? And then the battle don't continue in the relationship. Sometimes we're battling in relationships with stuff that we still got on us from what happened before.
Yeah.
And so just look at it as a chance to get whole.
Yes. Katrina said, good conversation. I'm out as well. She said that when Reverend Lamb hung up on us, like on the home phone.
Nice. The screen froze.
Okay. Right. I'm out. Do you have any parting words that you would like to say, Reverend Lamb?
I just look forward to the conversation was great. The topic was great, and I just look forward to continuing it on.
Thank you so much. And you, Brother Pastor Elder Smith.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for having us on. Wonderful conversation. Everybody out there, just keep loving God. Put God. Don't just make God first in your life. Make him the center of your life. And really make him a part of everything you do. And here's the crazy part: make him a part of your mistakes, because he is. Even when you tear up, even when you mess up, God is always there. It's not like he's some type of creepy stalker, but I'm just saying he's always there. So reach out, take that lifeline, and if you're not sure what to do, God help me. If you didn't talk to him and you didn't consult him before you did it, Lord, I apologize. I forgot you was in the room. Because sometimes we forget. We forget you in the room. Relationally, love the one you with. Because I'm telling you, reality of it is, I know we're in a world that paints a lot of pictures, but it's better to deal with the hell you know than the hell you don't. And so deal, love the one you with, deal with what's going on with them and take it head on. Face it head on. Don't deflect, don't deter. Try to brace yourself and be like, look, I'm trying to be strong here, honey. I know I'm supposed to be Superman, but I'm ready to cry like Clark Kent. Take it head on and let God be God. As Pastor Paulette said it, wonderful. Let God be God in your relationship. It's a threefold cord is not easily broken. So if you sitting on one side of the bed mad and he's sitting on the other side of the bed mad, somebody slide the Holy Ghost foot over across the bed and say, "Baby, I'm sorry." That's how you make up when you marry, you know. And if you go to sleep, Brother Lamb, you just slide that foot across in the middle of the night, just to let her know you still alive and you love her, and everything gonna be all right. That means, baby, I forgive you and I pray you forgive me. And then slowly but surely roll on over there and spoon and go to sleep. Okay. So I love you. That's my 2 cents. And yes, ma'am.
Yes, you know, guys, I appreciate it so much. You coming on, taking your time, spending this time with the Hills. I am so excited about what God is doing in this season with this show, because before I started off and we was all funny, but slowly but surely I can see it taking form where he's also incorporating the word of God and lessons and life lessons that we can use, and we can get people that aren't necessarily in church. And that was always my desire, because everybody's not coming to church. Everybody is not trying to hear it. They don't want to hear your sermon. They don't want to hear your hymns. They're just not here for it. So I know where God has called me to, which is outreach, which is those that are outside of the church. So I'm just so grateful that you guys, being who you are, pastors and leaders of churches, would take the time and come and spend with me on a Thursday night. I want to thank my handsome, wonderful, loving, delicious husband for sitting in with me. He's finally off on a Thursday where he could do it. Unfortunately, and I ask that you pray for him and his family as they lay his grandmother to rest on tomorrow. But I thank God that he was like, "No, baby, I want to do it. I told you I would." And he's here and in good spirit. So I thank God for him. And my little 2-piece that I want to leave is what we talked about. Because our relationship is not a traditional relationship, but we know God is in the center of it. And that's the first thing he told me. He was like, God did his part. He put us together. Now it's up to us. We have made the decision that we love each other today. We can't worry about yesterday and we can't worry about tomorrow. But on today, I'm going to love you. I'm going to be everything that you need me to be. My goal is to be everything you need me to be. And, you know, we just try to be the best we can to each other on that one day. And then we wake up, if God allows us to, and we try to do it all over again. So I'm just grateful for that. That's my tidbit that I want to give someone. You know, just focus on today. Don't let this time pass you by. Don't waste it. You know, I've messed up so many times before. And I told God that if he trusted me again with a husband, that I would do everything in my power to ensure that I loved him the way Christ wants me to. So I just invite you, ladies and men that are looking for somebody, you know, commit yourself to Christ. Chris told me that he knew I was the one because I told him he was not getting none. When my name changed, that's when you'll get some. And I meant that. As bad as I wanted him, like you said, listen. Oh, I did.
She was going to jump your bones, Chris. She was going to jump your bones.
But then I'm like, oh. But
That's
I'm
so
just
crazy.
saying, I just knew that I love God more than I love him. I love my assignment. I love the calling on my life. I love what God wants, what he expects of me, more than I wanted a husband, or more than I wanted sex, more than I wanted a boo thing. So this is who I am. And if you want me, you know, you got to be willing to accept that. So I'm just so grateful that God sent me him and sent me to him. And he knew he wanted me. He prayed for me. He, you know, he did everything that he said that he was supposed to do for God to trust me with him. So I want to continue this conversation. If you guys can join in, it would be great. I thank y'all so much. I thank those listening in on YouTube and those listening in on Facebook. Thank you so much for being a part of my dream and my assignment in this season. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. If you do not follow Danny Direct, you can do so by going to Runita Danielle, and you can follow us there. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube. I love you guys. I will talk to you all next week. God bless. Have a blessed week. Happy 4th of July.
All right. Y'all be blessed.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.